In this video, we're going to do long division. And the long division steps are the same no matter what our divisor is here on the outside. And these are the same steps we're going to go through each time. We're going to divide, then we're going to multiply, we're going to subtract, and bring down the next digit. So let's look at this first one. When I take this divisor, I ask myself, how many times can 6 go into each of the particular numbers? Every once in a while, now with the 6's I might know the multiples of 6, but just as an example, I'm going to make myself a list real quick of the multiples of 6. So I'm going to go out here. So I've got 6, 12, 18, 6 times 4 is 24, times 5 is 30, times 6 is 36, times 7 is 42, times 8 is 48, times 9 is 54. Oops, that's supposed to be 54. Okay, so I have kind of a running list in case I don't remember all my multiples of 6. So what I'm doing is I'm looking into each number. 6 can go into 1. Well, it really can't. So I go into the next set. 6 can go into the 1 and the 7, or 17. So I run down here and see how high I can get without going over. 6 times 1, 6 times 2, 6 times 3 is too big for that 17. So I stay back at 2. So 6 times 2 is what will go into 17. So I've done the division. The next is multiply. So we multiply the number on top times 6 is 12. So we write that below. Step 3 says I subtract. So I'm going to subtract 17 minus 12 is 5. And then I'm going to bring down the next digit. Only one digit at a time. So it says repeat until I can't bring down. This is for whole number division. When we get to decimals, it'll be slightly different. So we brought down the next digit and then I repeat. So now it's 6 going into here, this 53. So 6 goes into 53. Well, again, if I'm not really sure, I'll run down my list. This is times 1, times 2, times 3, times 4, times 5, times 6, times 7, times 8, and times 9 is too big. So I'm going to back up and times 8. I have to be as big as I can without going over. So we're going to do times 8. So 6 times 8 is 48. I'm going to subtract, and then I'm going to bring the next, subtract, didn't do that one yet, and then I'm going to bring the next number down. Now, I'm doing this for teaching purposes, but I highly recommend that you actually draw these arrows, because sometimes if we're not perfectly lined up, then we actually make mistakes and we forget, we skip over numbers or we bring the same number down twice. So it's always a good idea to do that. Okay, then we brought a number down, so I'm going to repeat again. Divide, 6 goes into 54 9 times. 9 times 6 is 54. That's the multiply, step 2. Then step 3 says subtract. And then I can't bring the next number down, so I'm done. So this is going to be a remainder of 0, whatever number happens to be down here. For this second problem, I'm going to do the same thing. 9 can't go into 7, but 9 can go into 72. So 9 goes into 72 8 times. And again, if I wasn't sure, I could do that same thing where I made the list again. Again, the 9, 18, 27, and so forth. But 9 goes into 72 8 times. So that's the divide, step 1. Step 2 says to multiply, so the top number I get on top times 9 is 72. And then I put a 0. 72 minus 72 is 0, and then I bring the next number down. Now here's where people get confused. It's the same step. I'm not going to change the rules. But when 9 goes into 2, people get a little antsy and they want to bring down more numbers. No, you simply have to answer the question. 9 goes into 2 0 times. It's way too small. So don't skip over this and start bringing more numbers down to help you out. Answer the question. 9 goes into 2 0 times. And we're still doing the same. So we did the division. Now we're going to multiply. 0 times 9 is, in fact, 0. So we subtract, and then we bring the next number down. And again, some people don't like, oh, that arrow is not very neat. Some people don't like that because it seems like a mundane step to multiply by 0, but it gives us that 0 right there to hold into the place, to hold place values. So don't forget to do that. Okay, so we're back at the beginning. 9 goes into 27 3 times. We still put the number up top. Then again, step 2 says we multiply, and that's 27. And then we subtract, and then we bring the next number down. There's nothing else to bring down, so I'm done repeating. That's going to be my remainder. Here in this next problem, I have a divisor that's a lot bigger, of 54. And that one is a little bit harder to remember how many times 54 will go into 2 or into 26 or so on and so forth. So what I do is, again, I make the same list that I did before. So I can either go 54 times each one, but I can go 54 plus 54, and that is equal to 108. So this is 1 times 54, 2 times 54 is the 108, and then I'm going to continue to add 54 here. Again, is going to be 162. Okay, so I made the rest of this list, but as we're adding down, I noticed that when I added one more 54, this was 2 times, add another 54, so this is 3 times 54. This is going to be 4 times 54. It's going to be 5 times 54, 6 times 54, 7 times 54, 8 times 54, and 9. And it seems like a lot of work for this, but it really helps out when we get to actually doing the division. Okay, so when I look at this, I have 54 into 260. So 54 can't go into 2, can't go into 26, so you can decide whether or not you actually want to use the zeros. But it will go into 260. Well, I've got to look down. There's times 2, times 3, times 4. Well, times 5 gives me 270, and that's too big. So I'm going to back over to 216. So again, that's 4. So 4 times 54, it's right here. That's right with that number right there. So I can do 216. So then I subtract. Again, remember to borrow if we need to. So 10 minus 6 is 4, and that's 4. And then, after I subtract, I bring the next number down. So bringing the next number down, now I start all over again. Divide. 54 goes into 443. Then again, I got to look for a number that's as high as 443 without going over. We've got it here. If I go up to times 9, 486 is way too high. So it's times 8. So I'm going to put the 8 up top. 8 times 54, it's right there. So we're going to put that in there, 432. So again, I'm going to subtract, and then I'm going to bring the next number down. So as I go through, then I'm going to go and look again, how many times does 54 go into 111? So 54 goes in. If I go up to 162, that's too high, so I'm going in twice. 2 times 54 is 108. I'm going to subtract, and there's nothing else to bring down, so that is my remainder.